more time to spend enjoying the activities ashore, but well, the last few days have all been about preparation, and now the racing begins. Well, the VO65s are on the water, assessing the race course and the conditions, and this is how the picture looks at the moment. Right now, we've got some clouds in the sky, but that is keeping the wind alive. 9 miles per hour from the southwest, and that's providing enough power for this ocean-going beast to make their way around the course. It's going to be interesting, it's going to be tight, and I'm sure the sailors might be wishing for a little bit more power out there, but the race looks set to begin in fine form. Well, the big question will be, how is this course going to be laid out? What challenge is there for the sailors? Well, it is an import challenge, and it's a tight reaching drag race laid out just in front of Alicante harbour, and it begins with a reaching start. Our teams will be able to cross the line at full speed. From there, 4 corners, 5 legs, downwind and upwind section as well, before reaching across the line to finish on each lap. 2 turns around the course, plenty of speed, plenty of corners, and plenty of challenges. And the clock is already ticking for this race. So with only minutes before the start, let me welcome Sam Davies, former ocean race skipper and round the world IMOCA sailor. Sam, the VO65, you know, these boats, they're built for the ocean, but they lend themselves well to this import race.
Yes, Niall, and I have some amazing memories of sending it around the import race courses on Team Messier in 2014, 2015. The VO65s have a great deck layout and cockpit setup, and that makes the manoeuvres really, really fast.
Well, I know that is going to make a big impression on the outcome of today, and I know you're going to be lending your expert eye as to who is pulling off those manoeuvres well and who is getting that extra speed out of themselves. So the big question is, who should we be rooting for? Let's take a look at our 5 teams here. Well, first up, Wind Whisperer Racing Team, hailing from Poland. Now they have 4-time ocean race sailor Pablo Rates, the skipper. Some big names among the crew as well, such as Lid Wardley, but plenty of rookies too, some of them as young as 17. Team Yayo from Holland, another team boasting young and upcoming talent, led by skipper Jelmer van Beek, but also featuring ocean race heavyweight Bauer Becking on board today to bring them up to speed. Austrian ocean racing powered by Team Geneva, they continue to impress since their leg win in the Ocean Race Europe. They've had a very busy year, gaining as many practice miles as possible, and skipper Gerwin Janssen has built a very tight-knit and passionate team. The powerhouse in the VO65s is certainly Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team, a slick crew, and they seem unshakable in their confidence. 3 sailors have done the race before, including skipper Antonio Fontes, but today their boat is helmed by the team owner, Paolo Mirpuri. It was Sayula 2 that won the first race back in 1973 under a Mexican flag, and now Viva Mexico is back under the same colours. Eric Brockman leads the team that includes Roberto Bermudez, who's back for his 8th ocean race. Last but not least, Amber Sail 2's, their skipper, Rokas Melevinkas, was a rookie when he first did the race in 2014-15. Now he's the skipper of a Lithuanian team aiming to proudly show off his country's sailing skill. Well, 6 teams for the VO65 Sprint Cup. They are out there on the water right now, getting themselves warmed up. And we are moments away from this start. And the big question for the sailors right now, what are the sails that are going to get them the extra push off the line? Where are those advantages going to be? And here we go for the start. Racing underway here in Alicante, and a very good start for 4 of our VO65s. No surprise to see Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team in the mix. Viva Mexico, Amber Sail 2 and Wind Whisperer Racing Team all coming off the line well. And Sam, interesting here, we've got a little bit of a difference in the way these boats are set up.
Yes, it's quite interesting, and you can see that Mirpuri got the best start, and they were brave, maybe is the right word, enough to go straight onto their masthead 0 and not use the J1, which is a little bit more manoeuvrable before the start, and that's enabled them to get, I guess, the flying fastest start, and they're already hoisting their staysail, so obviously the practice or preparation is paying off.
Well, we're on board at the moment with Team Yayo. Now, this is a boat that right now did not get a very good start. They are to windward of Merpuri Foundation Racing Team. You can see from the view on board. So they got a little bit of work to do. However, Sam, from this windward position, they might have an advantage from those boats that started near the pin.
I think that's the low-risk start option. If you're not sure you're going to get the best start, obviously if you're up to windward, you're not going to get the wind shadow from the other boats. And it's obviously quite a long-reaching leg to the first mark, and there's nowhere to get out or make any gains. There's no manoeuvres to do. It's just a drag race. So basically, the ones to leeward have really got to hold that advantage forwards to keep out of the wind shadow.
Well, we said it was going to be all about speed, and Wind Whisperer Racing Team, the leader at the moment. This is the boat that seems to have played the right cards. They took that risky option at the leeward end of the start, but they've held on. I mean, you'll be forgiven for predicting that this boat was going to be rolled over to windward, but so far they are holding on. We are halfway through this first leg before that left-hand turn. If they can keep this position, they're going to start this race in fine form.
I think they were the other one that nailed that start without their J1, and looks like they've got the good crew work, and everyone looks pretty relaxed on the rail there. So they're well done to them. They've set themselves up nicely for this first leg.
Great view from on board of Wind Whisperer Racing Team, and you can see just how fragile that lead is. It is these boats there to windward. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, they have the risk now. You can see the bows just sort of turning down. Viva Mexico behind them, having to sail a little bit higher. All of these teams on this first leg, it is a jostle to try and find the right breeze, the freshest air. But the thing is, we are getting dangerously close to this first mark, and from there, I mean, things are going to get a bit complicated with the rules.
Yeah, and it looks like we can see that they're heeling over a little bit more now, and but probably not max power yet. So the wind's not really that strong. So obviously, you need to really keep that clear air. But as they're coming towards this mark, the furthest we go offshore, we're going to have more breeze. And you can see they're starting to power up a little more, and the heel angles are increasing.
Mark 1 in the import race for the VO65 Sprint Cup, and Wind Whisperer Racing Team have held that position that they took from the start line. They have a lead, but it is narrow, and they are under pressure from Merpuri Foundation Racing Team to windward, and Amber Sail too. Approaching that windward mark now. Wind Whisperer Racing Team coming through. They've been able to hold off the Portuguese to windward. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team will be above. They will have the best breeze, and you can see the Polish team with the red hull just having to pinch to get round the mark, trying to widen their turn. How much of an attacking position that will be for Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, we will have to see. And a little bit of a moment there, hesitation. They weren't too sure which side to attack.
Yeah, and it looks like it's pretty close. The boat's just behind as well. There's obviously some rules involved in getting the inside round the mark. Yayo looks like they made a good gain on that, just that last approach to the mark. And we can see that they haven't changed sails. So in terms of crew work, it's the wind strength is made it their lives easy on board, and they're now doing this downwind leg with the same masthead zero, which makes it a bit simpler for them.
Bit simpler for them on the sail choices, but you've got to hand it here to Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, because I think that they are setting up for something. And as I say that, you can see the Portuguese boat wedged in between these two boats that we're looking at in a line here. Wind Whisperer Racing Team in first, Amber Sail 2 in third, Merpuri between them, and they are darting up and down. I think they're playing a game there. Yes,
the game is that this leg is not a straight line leg. We are going dead downwind, and they are going to have to jibe, and which is basically this. It's a zigzag to get to the next mark, and they're obviously protecting that left-hand turn, so that there'll be this difficult moment of who's going to jibe first. It looks like everyone's going to want to carry on offshore on this starboard jibe and hit the right, as we say in sailing terms, which means it's going to be a critical moment to nail that ley line, jibe, and not get jibed on. And I think Merpuri are a really good attacking position.
Wind Whisperer Racing Team. Wind Whisperer Racing Team out in the lead, and they have got a very important decision to make here. They have to get this ley line absolutely perfect. Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team are on their heels. In fact, the entire fleet of the VO65 are lining up to attack here. And while on the first half of this short downwind leg, the Polish team in the lead will be enjoying the freshness of the breeze, when they jibe, they will be sailing underneath the fleet, and the fleet is lined up to block their breeze. This is going to need to be the best jibe that they have done. The crew now getting ready.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of pressure on their navigator, Axel Magdal, who I know well. He was working with us on Team SCA, and it's all the pressure on the navigator to call that ley line, not get it too early, but not wait too long.
On board now with Wind Whisperer Racing Team for this crucial jibe, and you can see the shadow of the boats behind them. That is what is going to be blocking the breeze here. If they go too early, then they risk sailing an inefficient, low and slow angle to the mark. If they go too late, well, they just leave the door open for everyone else to jibe on top of them. You can see the crew on board now, eyes behind. They're the sheets now, they're rigged up around the other winches. Now the activity, here comes the jibe.
Yeah, looks like it, and also you can even do fake jibes if you want the others to go before you.
Well, so far nothing fake about this one. This is crucial. How well can they deploy that A4 back out from the top? So a good furl. Out it comes again. It's a nice smooth turn all the way through. Their speed is going to be dipping down. Hopefully the trimmers can get those sails working again quickly.
Yeah, it's looking not quite as windy as I expected. Obviously, sailing these boats dead downwind is tricky in the lighter conditions, especially with these masthead zeros.
Well, look at that. That's the view from Wind Whisperer Racing Team, looking straight up at the direction of where the wind is coming from, and you want that to be a clear view. And unfortunately for them, Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team sitting directly on top of them. Team Yayo as well, but Wind Whisperer Racing Team looks set to have got a nice line on the approach to this bottom mark, Mark 2. Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team looks to be a little bit high here. So as we pull out and just show the geography, I think that the Polish team here in first place, they were vulnerable, but they seem to have played it well.
Yeah, I think Axel will be breathing a sigh of relief of his jibe ley line call. Yeah, I don't think Mirpuri really could have done anything better either. They did the best job as an attacking boat. You can hope that maybe you get that little gust that will help you soak down and make them up. So good job by them.
Good job by them, but interesting that you said the attacking boat, because their time as the attacking boat might be running out a little bit here, because to the right-hand side of the picture, you've got Team Yayo, and it almost looks like they're going to block the Portuguese breeze.
It could do, and that's great. The fleet is really close together, and that's what happens quite often, especially when we're sailing with the same sails and less manoeuvres. That keeps the fleet really tight because there's no errors in the manoeuvres. But it'll be interesting to see if they stay on the masthead zero for the next leg.
Leading off the line, leading round Mark 1, and now for Wind Whisperer Racing Team leading round Mark 2 as well. They have held off a very valiant fight for the lead from Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team, but the Polish team go on to the long bottom reaching leg, still in first place.
And this might now be a little bit slow for Mirpuri because they're going to have to soak down to that mark, and that might increase the lead for Wind Whisperer.
You can't really hold them against them, because Wind Whisperer Racing Team did a great job there, and I'm sure Mirpuri Foundation, they felt like they could see some weakness in this boat here, but unfortunately, like you said, a good call on that ley line, and you know, the Polish team right now, they're the ones setting the pace tactically.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see obviously the next leg's a masthead zero leg as well, so no sail change, no real big manoeuvre, or no opportunities to make big losses, so a little bit of a drag race right now.
On board now with Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, and the lead has stretched with Wind Whisperer Racing Team gaining a few boat lengths, just as you say there, Sam. That low course that the Portuguese had to take after their failed attack running into Mark II, meaning that the Polish boat stretches out a little bit ahead. At this point, though, I wouldn't rule out anything, because we know that Merpuri Foundation Racing Team are fast, a good boat, good sails, and certainly a long time with their team means that for this reaching leg they should be able to do something. But Team Yayo now coming into the bottom here, and this just shows how important that ley line is, because they've had to do 2 jives on the way down. Yeah,
that's cost them quite a bit of distance, but again, it was their attacking choice to put them in that position, and obviously this is great to see that the teams are doing everything they can to try and gain a few meters on the competitor ahead of them.
Well, first, second and third was an incredibly tight contest going into Mark 1, but now those positions seem to be a little bit more established. However, behind, things are looking a lot more interesting. 4, 5 and 6. Amber Sail 2 in 4th position. The Lithuanians now looking to jibe, but danger is on their inside. I think Viva Mexico might just be coming in, and yes they are. Eric Brockman, skipper of Viva Mexico. The masthead code 0 is flapping away. They're getting ready for that jibe, and they have stolen that inside turn. But this jibe and turn needs to be quick, otherwise Amber Sail 2 are going to come back in and steal that windward position again. On board with the Mexican boat, Amber Sail 2 right behind them now.
Yeah, and you can see everybody. There's 3 pedestals on these VO65s, and you can connect all 6 people onto the primary winch when you're doing one of these jibes with the big masthead zeros. You need those 6 people to grind that sail back in on the new jibe. And then you can see, obviously, it's not just that being grounded. You can see the guy on the runner. He's top handling, so he can't click into the pedestals, and he's actually pulling the running backstay on with a top handle on a winch. So there's a lot of winch work going on when you're manoeuvring.
Oh, well, rounding Mark II in 6th place, the Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Genoa, just losing pace with the other players at the moment. But now for this reach, the race starting to stretch out a little bit, and meanwhile, at the front of the field, after that action that we saw at the bottom, it is still Wind Whisperer Racing Team out in the lead, and if anything, extending on this leg. They have got more distance between them and Merpuri Foundation Racing Team in 2nd place than Jajo in 3rd. Wind Whisperer Racing Team leading the racing at the moment, halfway along this bottom reaching leg. We have 2 more left-hand turns to go before we come through the start-finish line to conclude lap 1. Right now, with Wind Whisperer, speed around about 11.5 knots. And, I mean, Sam, we wouldn't expect too many place changes on this leg, but even with that, this is a very comfortable lead at this point in the race.
Exactly. I think they've made some gains, well, definitely with that first jibe, and it's always easy once you're ahead to stretch out on these reaching legs if you've got the boat speed. But a long reaching leg can help maybe those who are just behind with some good sail trim, maybe just gain a little bit of distance on the boat ahead and keep that pressure on them. Obviously the next leg is an upwind leg. There might be a bit of strategy involved. You're going to have to make a choice, left or right. How many tacks to make with a big masthead 0? That can cost you a lot as well if you do too many tacks.
Well, for Wind Whisperer Racing Team in a lead of over 360 metres, I guess, going on to that upwind leg, they can play quite conservative, stick to that 1 tack. It's going to be Merpuri Foundation Racing Team in that 2nd place. But there, as you can see, the deltas on your screen on the bottom left-hand side, they are in risk from behind. Team Yayo are only a little while behind them. And at what point do the Portuguese team start to think, we're going to have to hold on to 2nd here rather than trying to chase down 1st?
I think they're going to be. I think that's going to be a double objective for them, and the mission is that there's still a whole another lap to go. That upwind leg's pretty short, so I was actually wondering whether they're going to do that upwind leg with a masthead 0, or if they have to go onto a J1 for the upwind. And it's been a few years since I've sailed on the Volvo 65, so I'm not sure entirely the wind limit for the masthead.
Well, this shot just giving you some idea as to how close we are to Alicante City, right in front of the shoreline. We've got spectator boats out in the water. We've got people in the harbour as well. But for these sailors right now, the only thing that matters is working to hold on to the lead. Mark III now coming into view for Wind Whisperer Racing Team. A left-hand turn going onto that upwind course. We've got the masthead code 0 up at the moment, and there doesn't seem to be any movement to get it away. So now, turning at the bottom. Mark III Wind Whisperer Racing Team. They were leading off the line, leading at every single turn. And now as we go into the final stages of lap 1, their lead has stretched.
And there, obviously, we saw the only manoeuvre, so to speak, that we saw was the dagger board going down. So they're preparing to sail upwind leg with the board down. These boats are canting keel boats, so you have dagger boards to stop them sliding sideways when through the pressure of the sails when you're going upwind on these legs.
It's interesting that you brought in the wind range of the masthead code 0, because behind them, look at Merpuri Foundation Racing Team. They are now, I mean, it looks to be that they are preparing either for a change or to go double-headed, but surely not for the upwind leg. So a difference in what's the best way to get to the top of the course.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that, and we're obviously are just on that wind limit, and so it's probably faster to sail upwind with the J1, but are you going to make up the time in the manoeuvre to change sails by changing to the J1? And Merpuri obviously are attacking, so they're planning on to do several manoeuvres, several tacks on this short leg. And it's obviously much quicker to tack with the J1 than with the masthead 0. So they'll probably leave that sail up, furled. They've got a good furl, and do those tacks upwind.
Well, if anything, the furl for the Merpuri Foundation Racing Team a little bit slow, but now on board with Team Yayo coming round Mark III. This is third place. How close are they going to be to the heels of the Portuguese team in second? They've got a good gap between them and fourth and fifth, who are chasing hard, and it's a nice smooth turn, and again it looks like another boat keeping that masthead code 0 up. So for these boats with the masthead code 0, the tacks are going to be slower, the power is going to be there. It's all going to have to come out in the wash.
It's really interesting to see the different choices, and these choices could be made as well. Maybe they'll say, okay, well, we haven't practiced that much, so we're not gonna change sails too often. If you haven't had enough to practice those manoeuvres, you won't take the risk of making that change. But that's going to limit them to not tacking and probably going out to the right.
Team Yayo with the masthead code 0, Wind Whisperer Racing Team with the masthead code 0 as well. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team just ahead, coming into view there with the smaller, less powerful, but perhaps pointing a little bit higher J0. Now, Viva Mexico going round, and look at this, we've got another battle. Amber Sail 2. This was the race that erupted at the last turning mark, with the inside line being taken by Viva Mexico, and Amber Sail 2 are refusing to let that lie. They desperately want to take that spot back.
Doesn't seem to be disturbing the crew on board though. No one's looking backwards, so that's great. They're keeping concentrated on their mission. I think that's Annemiek trimming there, so it's nice to see her. I haven't seen her for a while.
Annemiek Bess, you can see her trimming there. She did the last edition of the race with Sun Hun Kai Scallywag. She's an Olympian herself in the match racing, and if you want some experience, this is who you call on to come in and trim these boats. And right now they'll be pleased they had it, because who better than to have a bit of match racing experience when you go head to head with Amber Sail 2 behind. And rounding in 6th place, Austrian Ocean Racing powered by Team Geneva. They are still in this hunt. Remember, we still do have another lap to go, but they need to find some speed on lap 2, more than they found on lap 1. The team that are laying it down right now, Wind Whisperer Racing Team. They have stuck with that masthead code 0, and I would say, so far, the right call.
Yeah, I think it's, I was looking in the last images, it doesn't look like they're heeling over very much, so they're they're not overpowered in any way, so that's definitely seems to be the right call. And it looks like there's not really many options in terms of doing some tacks and attacking from Mia Fury. It's almost a straight line to this next mark, so good choice by Wind Whisperer.
Here is the crucial tack, and what a view on board, just to show there are no spare hands on board this boat. The people in blue on the left-hand side of your picture, they are just guests along for this ride, but everybody in red is needed right now. Hands and arms, power, everything is needed to try and get this boat through this tack. They have elected to stay with this masthead code 0. We knew that this tack was going to be crucial, and here it is. Wind Whisperer Racing Team in the lead here for the import race that marks the first point-scoring opportunity of the VO65 Sprint Cup. And by my eye, it looks like Wind Whisperer Racing Team is looking more and more confident in first place. A bigger gap opening up between them and Merpuri Foundation Racing Team in second. Wind Whisperer Racing Team with the Alicante skyline just behind. They are on the ley line now for Mark 4. They have kept this enormous masthead code 0 right from the bowsprit all the way to the top. The crew on board will be very pleased that they have made that decision, because it has kept the boat up at full power. It was going to demand a little bit more from their team, and even as we see from the top, they had the other sail ready to go just in case. It's the boat behind them in second that we're looking at now. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team that elected to go for the jib. Now they're wondering whether they made the right call.
Yeah, I'm not sure they did. It looks like they've lost a bit of distance to Team Yayo, and now they'll do a quick attack, but they're going to have to re-hoist or re-tension their masthead and redeploy it. So potentially with just one tack, that change of sail is not going to have paid off.
Well, we have had an enormous wind shift on this course for what should be quite a standard course that was able to absorb a lot of wind shifts, these long-reaching legs. Actually, Wind Whisperer Racing Team, they have sailed well, but they attacked just as that wind shift came in. It propelled them up to that top mark. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team and Team Yayo, and in fact everybody else as well, have been pushed way past the original ley line. Now the Portuguese tack, and just look at the distance between them and first place.
Yeah, I think it looks like really close to the shore, and that's what has been expected with the weather forecast, that there's a wind shadow, or the wind is being lifted off the surface by the land, how close the land is. And that light wind, light shifty wind, has been a bit tricky to get through, and especially for Mia Fury, who had obviously a smaller sail. They've struggled with that.
Well, just in terms of confirmation from what we can see playing out here with the way that wind shift has affected everything, the race management team have actually decided just to twist the course around a little bit and square everything up. As sailors, I mean, it's the game, isn't it? Knowing what that wind's going to do, so it's not luck out there, or at least you're trying to... I mean, the good sailors seem to always be lucky, I guess.
I think you make your luck.
Well, certainly Wind Whisperer Racing Team would certainly be quite confidently saying that they saw it coming. They decided the right place to attack, but whether it was luck or judgment, they've done a great job. As we go over the top now of Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, they have got, you can see the difference between that jib and the masthead code 01 wrapping right the way, all the way along the side of the boat and outside the shrouds and the spreaders off the mast. The jib that we can see here on the Portuguese boat in nice and tight, helping them to point high to the mark. But Sam, I'm almost a little bit surprised that we've still got that masthead code 0 furled and in the air.
I think that leg was just too short for them to drop it and rehoist it, as well as concentrating on the trim and the boat speed. So they left it in the air, and if it's a good foul, you don't lose too much with the drag.
Well, the breeze was always going to be a big question today, and it is going a little bit lighter, and this is going to be a big headache now for Merpuri Foundation Racing Team. Earlier on in the race, they were vying for first place. That battle seems to be long over. Wind Whisperer Racing Team has already through the finish line of lap 1. They are now on to lap 2, but right now the Portuguese team are under pressure. They are having to pinch to get round Mark 4 on their windward hip. Team Yayo is coming in with pace with the masthead Code Zero, the bigger sail. They can't point as high, but they've got the speed, and you can see the Dutch team bearing down on them all the time. Paolo Mipuri at the back of the boat, trying desperately to keep the boat going. He can steer to the right, pinch higher, but the speed will bleed out of everything, and then he will slip sideways. Right now they look set to have just enough pace to get round this mark, but it's really going to hurt them, and as they go onto this long reach, they are going to have the Dutch on their windward side.
And the question is, they've got enough pace to get round the mark, but are they going to be able to stay ahead for that during this manoeuvre that we can see where they're changing from the J1 to the masthead 0, and obviously that change does temporarily slow you down a bit. You can see the crew going forward now to help drag down the J1, and all this time there's extra air drag in the 2 sails, the flapping sail, the extra people on the bow who aren't on the rail during that manoeuvre, and that's slowing down Mipuri and giving an opportunity for Team Yayo to try and just get to windward and maybe sneak through.
Well, on board with Mipuri Foundation Racing Team with that action up at the bow, and you can see them working incredibly hard here to get the sail down and out of the way. But a good indication here as to whether they're feeling confident as to the way that this race is going to go is that this boat right now is sailing a high line. They are not actually pointing at the finish line of lap 1. They are sailing high to try and hold back Team Yayo. It's worked at the moment, but only, half a boat length. As long as they can keep the Dutch boat in their wake when they turn towards the finish line, the conclusion of lap 1, they should have clear breeze.
Exactly, and now they're just going to have to really concentrate, stop looking behind them, look at their sails, trim them properly, and hopefully get the boat speed to maybe drag out and gain a bit of breathing space.
Mipuri Foundation Racing Team put the bow down now, aim towards the finish line. Team Yayo now on their hip. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Wind Whisperer Racing Team out in 1st place, and they are almost rounding that first mark, and they are just going to extend and extend. With the breeze going a little bit lighter now, it's going to be harder and harder for the boats behind to close up one of those boats behind. Viva Mexico, Eric Brockman, the skipper, they are now rounding in 4th place, but they've got a bit of a cushion here. They have got space between them and Amber Sail 2 and Austrian Ocean Racing, powered by Team Geneva, behind. But unfortunately for Viva Mexico, as we go on board with them now, they haven't really got close enough to the boats in front to think about attacking. A lot of work going on at the moment. They are now on that top reach, trying to see whether they can get above 8 knots. I mean, Viva Mexico sailing faster than the others, but that might just be a little bit of localized breeze. And I do think that in 2nd place, Mipuri Foundation Racing Team having to defend the boat that is not having to do any defensive play at all. Wind Whisperer Racing Team out in 1st place, off on that 2nd lap. And to a certain extent here, Sam, I never expected to see a lead like this at the conclusion of lap 1.
No, they managed to just get through before that light spot near the shore, and I think in theory, although we can't really see it on the boat speed, in theory as they sail out towards this next mark, they should get a slightly better breeze. So obviously this is a richer scenario, at least until well, at least for the next 2 marks, they should stay in better wind and not get in any danger at all.
Wind Whisperer Racing Team far in the distance on the right-hand side, with Mipuri Foundation Racing Team in 2nd and Team Yayo in 3rd. Wind Whisperer Racing Team now approaching Mark 1 for the 2nd time, and on that first lap they made all the right tactical moves, and that was under pressure. Not expecting this team to put a foot wrong now.
No, it's a bit easier for them now, and you can see that maybe even from these images the mood on board is a little bit more relaxed. You can see there's 5 of the crew are right up on the bow. That is because the wind is light, the boats aren't going very fast, and the idea is to try and reduce the amount of wetted surface area of the boat in the water, and by putting the weight forward, you're lifting up the transom, which is the wide area of the boat where you get more drag in the water. That's the idea, is to move all that weight forward. You can see no one's hiking out on the rail anymore, which is showing that the wind's dropping, it's getting slower. And this is when you're frustrated. You've got guests on board, because you're not allowed to put them on the bow. They have to stay on the back of the boat.
And just in case you were wondering what the mood was like on the race leaders Wind Whisperer Racing team, they look very relaxed right now. I mean, it would be foolish to think that the hard work was all done, but you can forgive them for celebrating a little bit early, or at least starting to feel confidence. But this short downwind leg now, as we are on the first stages of lap 2, this downwind leg, this is tricky. Picking the right angle downwind is fraught with risk.
Yeah, and downwind with the masthead zeros, they don't have spinnakers. The wind's very light, and as they sail as low as possible, that will slow the boat down. So it'll feel like the boats behind are catching you as they come along the reach, until they themselves turn downwind and slow down. So yeah, I don't think they will celebrate anything yet, because as the wind gets lighter, that's a moment when you can start saying, look, anything can happen now. We've got to keep on our toes and keep an eye on the other boats, and keep an eye out, looking around the surface of the water to see if there's any change in the wind around you.
Well, by my eye, it almost looks like they're putting more crew up to the front, and as you were saying, that's important in these light winds. So another indication as to what the conditions are like on this far end of the course, the side of the course that we thought would have the best wind. So if Wind Whisperer Racing team right now are struggling, then for Viva Mexico out the back, things are only going to get tougher. Viva Mexico right now, the boat in front, they are in 4th place at the moment, wedged between Amber Sail 2 and Team Yayo. And the rest of the field, the 5 other VO65s, I mean, comparatively to the lead, there's actually quite a good race going on for the remaining places.
Yeah, the rest of the fleet's pretty close, and as the wind's dropping, you can see, if you look on as we look on the surface of the water, it's patchy. There's kind of like places where there's a little bit darker colour, where you've got a bit more wind, and right where they are right now, it looks really light, tricky. So I think we could see there's some opportunities for the rest of the fleet to catch up, to change places, and yeah, I think it's generally stressful, this kind of conditions.
Do you know, I think that you're either a sailor that likes the rough and tumble of the big breeze and the sort of hanging on, or you're a sailor that feels like you can exploit that light wind where, you know, patience is required among all else. And for these two boats here at the moment in 2nd and 3rd, Team Yayo and Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, it is going to be a battle of nerves and patience.
Exactly. You can see the sails are almost flapping. There's so little wind. Boat speeds are down to less than 5 knots, which is really, really tricky in these VO65s to keep the boats going. And luckily, there's a crew on quite a big crew on each board, so there's probably specialists for light wind and specialists for strong wind on each boat, and I'm pretty sure they'll have put the patient light wind trimmers trimming the masthead zeros for this section of the course.
On board now with Team Yayo, skipper Jelmer van Beek at the back of the boat, and the crew just crouching down to try and have a look underneath that code 0. Eyes going everywhere. Where's the best breeze on the course? It's not as if they actually get too much choice in where to sail, but they are around about halfway along the top reach, and when they turn the mark in front, then they're going to get a little bit of a choice here. The interesting thing for me, Sam, would it go so light and patchy that we might actually get to see them deliberately doing extra jibes on that downwind leg?
Yeah, I think so, and I think right now the they're looking around because they're trying to plan ahead and say, well, where can we go for this this next downwind leg where we're going to have to make choices and jibe. Where is the best wind? And it's no longer a question of boat speed. This will be a question of the one that finds the breeze is going to make big gains. And the manoeuvres don't cost as much when it's when you're looking at big changes in wind speed. And if you can make 2 manoeuvres to gain 3 knots of wind, then it's definitely worth making them.
Right now, the team in 3rd place, Team Yayo, is chasing down this team here, Merpuri Foundation Racing Team. The skipper at the moment is just got the eyes glued. Antonio Fontes looking at the screen there, trying to work out tactically the best line around this course, because they are slow. At the moment, they are not matching the speed of the boat behind them, and if anything, this breeze is dropping more and more, and there's nothing worse when your speed is bleeding out and you can feel the competition behind you.
Yeah, they're all so close. Yeah, anything can happen now, and we could almost see a race restart here.
Well, a slowdown now for Team Yayo. They are the boat that dips below 3 knots. So Merpuri Foundation Racing Team sailed through that bubble. Now it's the turn of the boat in 3rd place behind, with Team Yayo just struggling to keep their speed above 3 knots. But they're doing well as we are coming up for the next turn here. And look at the lead of Wind Whisperer Racing Team. It was colossal. Now it's pretty good, but it has evaporated. It has halved since this top reach has been going on. So Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, they have still a little bit of a chance here, but they've got to find the breeze somewhere. Coming into this next turning mark, Merpuri Foundation Racing Team turning this boat now away from the breeze. When you haven't got the power in your sails, it's just so hard to do. It's so tempting to keep the boat up and moving.
It's tricky, and now the downwind leg is with you're going to have to jibe, and you're just not going to be going. You're not going to be going where you want to.
Agony for the teams out in the water for the VO65 Sprint Cup with what started in good breeze. The wind is dropping. It was all about the muscles and the power to pull in the sails. Now it is about keeping cool and not listening to the devil on your shoulder, which tells you you are going to be becalmed as the fleet behind closing in. I mean, watching the sailors' faces here, you can feel the frustration. They had the power to get round the course. Now it is dying out. Can we see Merpuri Foundation Racing Team hold on? We're on board at the moment with Team Yayo in 3rd place, but their eyes are looking behind, because just behind them, Viva Mexico has closed up as well. The big question now, as we get to the turning mark, which is going to take us onto the downwind leg, Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, how are they going to attack this downwind leg? Are they going to have enough breeze to sail efficiently downwind? Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, masthead code 0 really eased at the moment, and it doesn't look happy.
You said it was a sprint cup. Right now it's a drift cup. Yeah, it's frustrating to not have the boat speed, to try and soak as low as possible, and the jibes just seem to take forever, and it takes forever to get the boat going after each jibe. So you're definitely trying to work out how to get down this run as efficiently as possible. And yeah, it must be pretty tricky with those boats breathing down their necks.
And perhaps this is what's causing this manoeuvre right here, because this is the jibe that if the breeze was up, we would not be expecting to see. They are jibing very early on this run, so they know they're going to have to do extra jibes down here, but they believe it is completely worth it to stay in the small pockets of wind. This is when you need almost that sixth sense. Just the years that you have spent studying the tiny ripples on the water, the clouds in the sky, able to read the behavior in this sort of invisible force that is trying to push yourself forward. Merpuri Foundation Racing Team believes that if they jibe now and sail off to the left-hand side of the picture, that is where the breeze is going to be. Team Yayo, though, are they going to jibe on their hip, or are we going to see a split?
I have some memories of sailing these boats in the light winds. and it's so difficult to jibe the main. You can see Puri now, they haven't managed to pass their main battens to the new jibe yet. So these we sail with main sail battens. Now we can see somebody sent their bowman up to the top of the rig, which is generally what you have to do, to kick the battens through and push the mainsail onto the new jibe. That person up there will also be helping look out to see where the best breeze is. So you have two roles up there at the top of the rig. One is to push the battens onto the right side when you jibe, and the other one is to look to see if you can see any wind around, and you'll be talking to the navigator, to the skipper, giving all the info that you can see from up there.
And when you say push, I mean, we're really talking about quite a violent swing and kick, really, aren't we?
Yeah, it is. I remember it was Liz Wardley who went up with Team Messier, and she's not the biggest, heaviest people, and I remember she used to have to really throw herself onto the battens to get them through. And you can see the main trimmer on the boom as well here on Mir Fury. He's trying to flick the boom. Obviously they haven't sent anyone up yet, and they're really struggling to get those main battens across, and until they get them through, they're never going to get their boat speed back up. So they're in a little bit of difficulty here, I think.
And they're trying absolutely everything to try and pop those battens. They've been on the pumps to try and get some Cunningham on, but look at the difference here with Team Yayo now with the crew member up the top. Viva Mexico going round to the right hand side of your screen. They've also got somebody up the top. So both of these boats are set up to, well, in your words, try and kick that batten through. That seems to be the play that we saw so much with the VO65s. And Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team seem to have forgotten what you guys had to learn in the past editions.
Yeah, I think maybe just that it got caught out, because at the beginning of the race there was enough wind to not have that issue, and sadly for them that was a bit of an error.
The lead at the moment still with Wind Whisperer Racing Team, but they have really slowed. The distance has come down between them and second place. And right now we've also got a little bit of a place change. It was Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team in second place, but at the moment electing not to follow the Portuguese boat and hold on without driving. Team Yayo, who we're seeing at the moment, have slipped into second place. And if anything, just looking at the angle that they are making on this downwind leg, I think they've played this one well. They seem to actually be in the breeze. Certainly they are doing around about 4 knots, near enough towards the mark. Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team jibed and stopped. So for Team Yayo right now, if they can keep moving, things are going their way.
Yeah, it looked like they had some real nice sail trim set up from the last heli shot. They seem to have managed to get some good depth in their sails and get the boat moving nicely.
Well, the VO65 Sprint Cup, and a place change now with Team Yayo taking second place, and the crew on board that boat trying to wave the helicopter's way as we pan round for Wind Whisperer Racing Team now coming round onto that long bottom reach, and the Polish team will be very pleased to be finishing that downwind leg. The reach should be easier.
Yeah, they'll be breathing a sigh of relief to have got down that downwind leg in one piece, and almost, if anything, I'd say they might have even made at least a time gain, if not a distance gain, on the others.
Well, Wind Whisperer Racing Team onto that long reach towards the last 2 turning marks, and the 3D graphics just giving us a little bit of an idea of the spread, while Poland seems to have been able to hold off in the light airs and keep themselves moving. The real loser in this part of the race so far has been Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team. That jibe at the mark so far has not worked for them, and they have slipped back into 4th place from second at the top of this section. Team Yayo, and they're sailing well at the moment, they are in second, and then Viva Mexico up into 3rd. However, if the breeze comes good on this run, Mirpuri Foundation Racing Team could still make that approach line work for them, at least into 3rd again.
Yeah, it'll be tricky for them on board, because they're going to have to probably end up doing a jibe jibe around the mark as well at the bottom mark, so that's going to be make their lives harder as well.
This is where the sailors really get to feel how much structure has been built into the VO65. It is designed to withstand the immense forces of those waves in the Southern Ocean. It is not designed to lightly cut through in the light winds that we're seeing today.
I think the good thing is that they're all identical. So if you're thinking, this boat's too heavy, at least you know that the other boats are also all the same weight, and everyone's in the same situation, trying to make these boats go a little bit faster in this light breeze.
Well, because of the light breeze, it's not surprising to hear that the race management team seem to be making an adjustment into the course. They always have the option as we go round on these laps to bring the finish line closer to the boat, and at the moment the intention seems to be to finish these teams after that long bottom reach. That is the leg that Wind Whisperer Racing Team is on. However, the Polish team, as we're looking at them at the moment, is the only boat on that long reaching leg. So ahead of Wind Whisperer Racing Team right now is the finish, but they still have a good kilometre to go before they get to that finish line. Right now, though, 5 knots of boat speed for the Polish team. They look set to achieve that, and they will be very, very happy, because that downwind leg, I mean, that really could have rolled out of their hands.
It was pretty stressful for them. You can see on board everybody's too lured to keep a tiny bit of heel on the boat, to keep the wind or the gravity helping fill the sails. The dagger boards are both up to reduce the drag, the underwater drag, as much as possible. I guess they're all concentrating or trying to help the trimmer, the tactician, giving information on the wind that they can see ahead of them up on the water, and the most important thing right now is the sail trim and the boat speed.
At this point in the race, in these conditions, having Pablo Arate on the helm, I mean, I've been watching the feed off this boat. He doesn't seem to have been shook at all. He seems pretty calm. I mean, when you're on board a boat like this and you turn around and you see the skipper of the helm looking pretty relaxed, that's got to help.
That's great, but I'm sure he's relaxed because he's got a great crew who've helped him get the boat around the course and give him all the right information.
So confirmation just coming over the race committee radio that race control will be finishing at Mark 3 or Mark 8 as it is at the moment, which is the second time we're going round the end of that bottom reaching leg. So Wind Whisperer Racing Team are going towards the finish. 5.5 knots of boat speed, dipping down to 5 at times. But the Polish team looking good at the moment. They are sailing well, and they're not leaving anything to chance. They still have everybody pushing forward on the boat and tucking in. Willie Altadil just trimming to leeward, another person who has had a lot of experience in the ocean race and in the VO65, sailing with Mafre. Behind them and realistically out of the competition for first place in Team Yayo, still the crew member up the top of the rig, trying to gauge where that pressure is to jibe back into, and you can see how that masthead Code Zero just folds in on itself, how fickle the breeze is right now. And we have had a real ramp up, a real squeeze of the fleet at the moment. Team Yayo are coming very close to a jibe here. Once again, they have to find the best line into this mark. Behind them, Viva Mexico and Amber Sail 2, ready to try and exploit any of their mistakes.
And it really looks like they're for them, and they're going to be the next jibe is going to be really tough for them, and they've got no boat speed. They're pretty much on the ley line for the mark. They know they have to jibe. Well, here it is. They're furling up to jibe. The manoeuvre is easy because there's no wind in the sails, but the hard thing is now going to be able to get the boat going after the jibe, kick the battens through, everyone to lure it as quickly as possible, help that sail fill the best they can, maybe luff up a tiny bit to try and get that boat speed going to power up and get the good course to the mark, and it's a really stressful moment getting through that jibe.
The man in the middle of the crew with the grey cap on with the salty sea dog expression is Bauer Becking, and he is an ocean race legend. He's just on board for this import race and the first of the offshore stages for the VO65, and I'm sure he is giving some valuable input. But the rest of the crew, they've all got jobs to do, and they're working pretty hard, because this is a crucial moment right now. Team Yayo have jibed over, and they are desperately trying to build their speed. At the moment, they are flagging. It is less than 1 knot. And Merpuri Foundation Racing Team, now with a crew member up the top of the rig. This was the boat that lost it all on this downwind section when they jibed early at the last turning mark. But believe it or not, I think it's come good for them.
Yeah, it looks like they're coming in and they're going to breathe a sigh of relief, and the end of this downwind leg has come good for them. So they'll be happy to get to the end and get onto the reaching leg. And I was just thinking, as you were talking about Bauer Becking on Team Yayo, looking at those young sailors on board, and what an opportunity for them to sail with Bauer Becking, a legend. Imagine that just must be incredible for them to have that opportunity to go offshore with someone like him. So it's amazing that he's there with them, and in terms of heroes and doing something for the sport, that's just great.
It's funny when you look around the fleet of the VO65, because there are a lot of those legends that do pop up. I mean, Pablo Arate here that we can see helming a Wind Whisperer Racing Team, this VO65. This is his 5th edition. You know, I mean, there is a lot of new blood in the VO65, and the ages, as we were saying earlier, I mean, with Wind Whisperer Racing Team, 17-year-old crew member. I think there's a 17-year-old as well on the Austrian Ocean Racing Team, powered by Team Geneva. So there's some real young third. You know, I mean, there is a lot of new blood in the VO65, and the ages, as we were saying earlier, I mean, with Wind Whisperer Racing Team, 17-year-old crew member. I think there's a 17-year-old as well on the Austrian Ocean Racing Team, powered by Team Geneva. So there's some real young, thirsty. You know, I mean, there is a lot of new blood in the VO65, and the ages, as we were saying earlier, I mean, with Wind Whisperer Racing Team, 17-year-old crew member. I think there's a 17-year-old as well on the Austrian Ocean Racing Team, powered by Team Geneva. So there's some real young, thirsty